That little boy screamed and bolted out of that room, and he ran home and hid in his closet. His older brother found him, came in, said, "What happened?" The little boy seemed to be grasping for breath, said, "We're in big trouble. God is missing and they think we did it." My friends, we live in a society where people are wondering, where is God? Our society and perhaps our lives seem to be in chaos. I will not make the false statement that our society is the worst society in history, but nevertheless, our society is beginning to bust out at the seams. We're seeing more and more school violence, more and more the disappearance of young children. Drug, alcohol, and sexual abuse continue to rise. Society is becoming increasingly violent and, more frighteningly, indifferent. The family structure has always been under attack. Those who stand for righteousness are called intolerant. And yet we have churches on every corner. God is not a God of disorder. When you think about the Christian life, the Christian journey, it is that from a sense of brokenness to a sense of harmony, a sense of order. Let me give you another illustration. At Christmas time every year, I'm always troubled because I look at my checkbook and I look around at what we're spending our time and our money on in our lives, and I think, do I have my priorities in order here? Is this what God is interested in? Are the values in my life consistent with the values that God has? When I look at my desktop calendar, when I look at where I spend my energy, when I look at what I think on, the truth is sometimes, my friends, I create my own chaos. Sometimes my heart is not ordered the way God intended it to be ordered. Sometimes my relationships are in a state of disharmony instead of harmony. Sometimes my world is upside down. Chaos seems to be winning. And I don't have the peace of God that surpasses all human understanding. I understand that out there, out in the world where people either deny or ignore the existence of God, chaos exists. Discord exists. But what about for us, the people of God, the Church of Jesus Christ? Is our life lacking the peace of God which surpasses all human understanding? The peace of God. Do you remember that hundreds of years before Jesus came to earth, Isaiah the prophet said that one of his names would be the Prince of Peace? I want to be clear that peace is not the absence of conflict. I can have the peace of God in the midst of the storm. God's peace is not dependent upon the circumstances of life. God's peace is dependent on God. Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled." You know, it's often difficult to conceive how a person who has truly experienced the unconditional and generous love and joy of God in one's heart can feel anything but a deep and abiding peace. In the Old Testament, that word peace, the Hebrew word is the word shalom. And in the New Testament, the Greek word for peace is eirene. Both have that sense of well-being, that sense of serenity, that sense of security. You see, peace comes as a result of our reconciliation, of our relationship with God. And perhaps I need to re-examine where I am in my relationship with God. For one of the fruit of the Spirit mentioned in Galatians chapter 5 is love, joy, peace. Peace with God. And peace with my fellow human being. That's why we're told in Romans chapter 12, verse 8, as much as you are able, if at all possible, live peaceably with all men. This is what Mother Teresa once said about that. Let us thank God for His gift of peace that reminds us that we have been created to live at peace. And He has proclaimed very clearly that He had come to give us the good news. The news that the good news was peace to all men of goodwill, and this is something that we all want. Peace of heart. Let us preach the peace of Christ as He did. He went about doing good. He did not stop His work of charity because the Pharisees and others hated Him or tried to spoil His Father's work. He just went about doing good. Our works of love are nothing but the works of peace. Mother Teresa continues by saying this: let us not use bombs or guns to overcome the world. Let us use love and compassion. Peace begins with a smile. Smile 5 times a day at someone you don't really want to smile at, and do it for peace. Some of us who may have off tomorrow, maybe we should reflect on Martin Luther King and what he had to say about things like that. For this is one of the things he said: peace is not the absence of tension, but the presence of justice and brotherhood. I think it takes us back to where I started my sermon today with the idea of order. That when there is that proper sense of order, with God especially, we have peace that we can give to each other. What does that mean for you and me today? Perhaps I need to go home and clean out my garage. Or maybe you need to clean out your closet. But both of us probably need to look at our relationships. A relationship with God. That I can have that peace in the midst of the storm. And that I can have it with you. Or with people outside of these walls. Not based on what they do. But based on the peace I have here in my heart. Amen. I invite you to